So we're heading to the gym right now. Today I'm going to just be doing a hard conditioning workout, which might have a little bit of long distance running, some sprints, some intervals, some circuits, maybe some footwork. We'll just have to see how I'm feeling and what's going on and how the rhythm goes. And then after we leave the gym today, we'll head back, get some food, and see what the day holds. So we just got to the gym today. Like I said, it's just going to be conditioning here on this Sunday. What I'm going to probably start out with is about a mile or a mile and a half. I'm kind of leaning towards a mile and a half on a faster pace, like a 9.0 speed, to finish a mile and a half, in about 10 minutes or so. That way I really get the body warmed up, my heart rate's revved up, so on and so forth. And then I'll jump into some sprints. Today I won't do the outside sprints, I'll do the inside sprints here on the treadmill.
Never give up, never slow till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to...
So I'm gonna now do my sprints. Then I'm gonna do a 3-set circuit. Today I think it's gonna be using the 20-pound medicine ball, doing a burpee, bringing it up with a jump on here with the ball, as well as something that doesn't really have a name. I call it burpee jumps because it's just doing the burpee stuff on the ground with your legs back and in without standing up. And then I'll do a sprint high knees in place. Each thing for 30 seconds. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute and a half. Circuit hard, and then I'll rest for about 3 minutes. And hopefully we'll get in about 4 rounds of that.
Everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
These circuits, in my conditioning workouts, if I'm at the track, or if I'm here, they get so tough. Honestly, before each set, mentally you get this like fear. You're like scared to do the next set because you're so exhausted. But honestly, that's just weakness of mind, needing to be purged out of the body. If you can control your mind, you can go so much further. You just gotta focus, you gotta push through it. No one's gonna do it for you at the end of the day. Nobody's gonna do it. You have to do it, or it's just not gonna get done. I think one of the things too is that I've always done very well at doing things solo. I haven't needed a coach or certain things to get me driven to go and go and go. My dad told me whenever I was young, he said, Nick, you're so driven. This is since I was a kid. He said, you're so driven, you will either be the president of the United States or you'll be the head of a cartel. He said, you choose which path you want to go down, but your drive and your determination gets you there. And, I think that's one of the biggest things, the reason why, one of the reasons why I wake up at 4 a.m., it's always making sure things are on point, pushing to the next level. I don't need somebody else to push me because I truly want what's best for myself. Somebody else's best for me at the end of the day is a limitation of what I can do. It's always a limitation, so if I'm in a school, for example, whenever I was in the yeshiva, you had to finish one class every 6 months, but that's a limitation on me. I finished half of the school in 6 months, not just one class, so that's always been the way that I've rolled. Is just I'm not complacent. I always want to be better in everything that I do, and my mental drive has always been willing to take me there. But we have to dig deep, and we have to go and do that. Nobody's forced me to do any of those things.
live to win, yeah.
You know, in order to be your best, and notice I didn't say the best means I'm comparing myself to others. But even comparing myself to others, I'm still limiting myself. Because even if I am the best and I'm better than this person and all I'm trying to do is be better than this person, I'm not being the best I can be. I'm just trying to be better than them. So in order to be your best, I really believe you have to be obsessed. With whatever it is that you're going to do, you got to be obsessed. Obsession will beat talent every day. I would take obsession over talent any day. Because talent just means you have the ability. It doesn't mean you're going to do it. It doesn't mean you're willing to go through all the obstacles. Obsession means whatever comes my way, nothing's getting in my way. And I'm going to do whatever I can do to be my best. And a lot of times when you're your best, you happen to be at the top tier of whatever sphere or circle that you're involved in. But obsession to me is the key.
Nice.
All right.
So we're heading back to the house. Just got done doing conditioning. I really like to do my conditioning on Sunday. I actually do only conditioning generally on Sundays and on Tuesdays. But I really like to start out my week like that on Sunday. It really just kind of gives me a good mental focus, good start to the week, a good boost, so on and so forth. And so we'll head back to the house, get cleaned up, get some food. I might make a couple things for this week as far as food goes. We may actually go out onto the property and just set up some targets and do some target practice. I like to do that for fun if I've got some time, just to kind of, just a little fun hobby to have outside sometimes. And then make some dinner tonight, and then I have a meeting tonight as well. And now that I'm back from my sabbatical, every Sunday night I actually have a select group of pastors and teachers and elders that I'm working with behind the scenes and teaching them and equipping them for some different things with ministry. So that's also on Sunday nights, which won't be till, much later in the evening. So we'll head back and first get some food. So, every day I'm a real big believer in having one big bowl or big plate of fruit a day. This actually, to be honest with you, isn't a ton of fruit. I usually have a little bit more than this, actually. I have 2 persimmons, 1 pear, and 5 of the medjool dates from the date people in California. Like I said, these are the best dates that I could possibly find in the States from the date people. Feel free to reach out to them and email Jamie and tell him Pastor Nick sent you. But I'm really big on having a fruit bowl or a fruit plate a day. It's an easy way just to get in fruits nutritionally. It's pretty much non-debatable. But also, I think a big misconception, the reason why people don't eat a lot of fruits, personally from what I've heard, is because of the sugar. And the thing is, sugar in fruit form is completely different than, say, added sugar that you just, put on top of your Cheerios or whatever it may be, or that's in processed foods. And the reason is because the sugar that comes in fruits come pre-packaged with phytonutrients. Phytonutrients are the nutrients from plants coming with the fiber. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of juicing. I'm not against juicing. I actually really do enjoy doing celery juice. But as far as, actually a part of the regimen, when you juice something, you strip it of all of its fiber and you strip it of all of its nutrients to where now all you have is a dense cup of straight sugar that's just going to, that doesn't come with all the fiber and everything else and the phytonutrients that you're going to get if you eat whole foods. And it's one of the reasons why I say that although the diet that I do eat might be classified as a vegan diet, I don't consider myself one that eats a vegan diet. If somebody asks what kind of diet I eat, I specifically say a whole food plant-based diet. And the reason is because, like I said, if you're doing juicing and processing the food, you're not getting the whole food. I eat the whole food plant-based diet. It's non-processed, but also, you have to think about things like Oreos. Oreos are actually vegan, or Lay's chips, different things like this. And it's nothing against people that do eat that or anything like that, but it's just a little bit more of a specific of how I eat. And not to say that I never enjoy those things, you know. Every few months, not every week, not every couple weeks, but every few months, you know, I might enjoy some desserts like that or something like that, you know. So I'm not completely exclusive to this, but as far as a daily basis, it is a whole food plant-based diet, and you know, having a daily fruit bowl or daily fruit plate, mixing up different fruits and this, that, and the other, I'm a huge advocate on. So these are hachia, organic hachia persimmons. I got these from Pioneer Co-op. I haven't really been seeing persimmons at, you know, your regular grocery stores, H-E-B, Hy-Vee, or Walmart, you know, things like that. But I've been seeing them a lot on Instagram and at specialty food stores, and people have been raving about them on Instagram, and I really wanted to try them. So I've had them a couple times in the last couple weeks. For me, unless I'm doing it wrong, which is very possible, getting to eat it is not the prettiest thing. I mean, it's dripping all over my plate. I kind of wait till they get a little bit softer. I've heard that you can eat them when they're harder too, but I wait till they get a little bit softer like they are right now, and they are just extremely ripe. It's interesting. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's actually not one of the sweetest fruits. Like, for example, dates are very sweet. That, as far as sweetness goes, dates knock it way out of the park. But it is a very satisfying fruit. Very juicy, very good flavor. Whereas a lot of fruits, you know, they're very sweet as the flavor. This is just a really good flavor. I would also be curious to try dried persimmons. I've seen those in slices, the dried persimmons, and I almost got that at an Asian food store we have in Coralville near Iowa City. It's actually where I get my durians from, but I didn't get them. I need to get them next time I go back because I do like dried fruit. I'm a really big fan of dried fruit. Okay, so today I'm going to be making one of my favorite recipes to make. It's my whole food plant-based banana bread. There's no added sugars to this. There's no oils. It's whole foods. You know, you have oatmeal, we have bananas, we have dates, baking soda, baking powder, but I use this unsweetened vanilla almond milk, and then we'll have some other ingredients with it as well. But I'm going to make this, and then I actually top it with a date caramel that I make here at home, which will show the recipe for that as well. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to place 3 very ripe bananas. So look at how ripe these things are. They're very, very brown. They're not completely to where I can just push them in, but I mean, by all means, I definitely can. You can see. So they're very, very ripe. This is what you want for this recipe. So I'm going to use 3 of them. And there's actually you know, generally what I prefer to do is double this recipe. And that way I can save some, put it in the freezer. But today I'll just go ahead and do the normal amount. And then we're going to do 1 cup of a plant-based milk. And like I said, I do the unsweetened. This is really clean recipe. It's, like I said, it's going to have no added sugars to it, no oils. And then we'll also do 1 cup of medjool dates. So as usual, I'm using the dates from the Date People. Just remove the pit, obviously. And whenever I do anything like measuring things out, whether it be like for my pesto with the basil or things with the dates, I really make sure that they're packed. I pack them down. I always do packed cups or packed half cups or whatever it is. All right, so we have a very packed cup of dates. And then I'll do the juice of half a lemon. You want to do like 2 tablespoons? I'll just do the juice of half a lemon. And then put it in your food processor. Now that that's processed, you'll want to do the ingredients that are going to go in your bowl. And so I'm going to have 2 cups of oat flour, which the oat flour is just the oat flour that I always make at home. You put oatmeal in a food processor, blend it up, and you've got the oat flour. You want to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda
and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then after that, we'll add in some cinnamon. And I don't really do any strict measurement. I just toss a decent amount in there. And then you can do just a little bit of salt. I'm actually going to do salt that's actually from Israel. And then what we want to do is we want to add in all of our wet ingredients from the food processor and mix it with the dry. And then we just want to mix up the ingredients. And so now I'm going to make my date caramel to go on top of it. It's really simple. It's just dates, my homemade almond butter, pure vanilla extract, and just a little bit of a nut milk. I'm going to use the unsweetened vanilla almond milk. You can also add some salt. I generally don't. Once again, we're going to do a cup of dates. We're going to put this cup, look at how wonderful that is. If anybody is obsessed with dates as much as I am, this is just beautiful. We're going to put the dates in our food processor. As you've seen by now, the food processor really begins to be the best friend. It is used for everything. And then we're going to do a 4th cup of nut milk. And before we do the vanilla extract or the almond butter, we'll just go ahead and process that till a paste starts to form. May have to scrape down its edges just to help it out a little bit. And so now we have this paste, and now we'll throw in our almond butter and our vanilla extract. And if you're going to add salt, this would be the time to do it too. You wouldn't need more than like a half teaspoon of salt, although I'm not going to add any salt. And so I'm going to do, you can actually do a 3rd cup of almond butter, but I'm going to go ahead and stick to a 4th cup. And this is just my homemade almond butter. Sometimes I'll mix it up. You can do the peanut butter. I might do the almond peanut butter, but I'm just going to stick to the usual for this recipe, which is the almond butter. And the recipe is pretty low fat. I mean, for the entire banana bread, you know, it's only 4 tablespoons of almond butter, and then we're going to top it with some nuts. But other than that, and then, you know, the 2.5 grams in the almond milk, you know, per cup. I mean, it's a really low fat recipe. So it's low fat, no added sugar, no added oils. And so now we have a perfect date caramel, and this is going to go on top of the banana bread. I'll tell you what I actually do with the date caramel. I'll actually store it in the fridge. It really is amazing after it's cooled down in the fridge and everything. But I'll keep it in the fridge just in a jar and use it for, you know, it could be for putting on toast. It could be, you know, one of my favorite things I like to do is get 2 pieces of bread, spread this on each piece, and chop up banana and put it in there and have a sandwich. In my morning meals with my homemade acai bowls, I might take a scoop or put a dollop on there. So you can really just keep it. It doesn't have to be for this. You can use it for really whatever it is that you want to keep it for in the fridge, like how you would keep a jelly in there, and just kind of top it with different things. Use it as a dip, apples and date caramel, stuff like that. So it's really, really versatile. So then now I'll just use this pan, and before I do it, I just spray it with Pam a little bit. So that way it falls out really easily whenever I'm done. And now I'll just begin to fold the mixture. Now that everything's really soaked up, it's really nice and thick. And now I'll just start to even it out a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bake it on 350 and for like 50 to 60 minutes, and then just kind of use a toothpick to make sure that it's done. It's gonna stay really, really moist, and then we'll throw it in the oven. But that was my big concern with her coming out here, was she's never been just like in a free roaming place like this, you know what I mean? She was always in a backyard with fences in the suburbs and everything else. And so coming out here, you know, I had to make sure that she wasn't just going to run off from me, or that she wasn't going to go down the road. You know, see, the thing is, out here in the country, you go on somebody else's property, they'll shoot you.
Yeah.
They don't, you know, so they won't even care about whose animal it is, whatever. I mean, and that's happened with them, where one of their dogs went off and their neighbor shot it. Wow. Yeah. Their kitchen. It's going to be a 2 full bedroom with walk-in closets. That's pantry. This is washer dryer. This is bathroom, and this is my office, which I was happy about. This is gonna be my office. Big walk-in closet. That's gonna be nice. So we just finished the banana bread. A good 50 minutes, and generally you just want to poke something through it, like a toothpick, something like that, and make sure not a ton sticks to it. If just a tad bit, very, very tiny, that's good, because you still want it very, very moist. And so now, what I'm going to do, and so while that was actually cooking, I put this in the fridge. So it's this thick date caramel. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on there in just a minute. But while it's cooling down, actually, because what I'm gonna end up doing is topping the date caramel with some type of crushed nuts. And generally I use like walnuts. We'll crush up walnuts on there, but I kind of mix it up. Something I've actually never done is I've never used crushed pecans on there. So this time I'm actually gonna do crushed pecans. You could do crushed Brazil nuts or things like this, but I'm gonna try crushed pecans this time. I think that this will actually complement it really well. I'm telling you, when you try this recipe, this is truly one of my favorite plant-based recipes that I have. It's incredible. And I may or may not use all this date caramel for this one, because usually I double the banana bread recipe. Well, I'll actually have it a little bit bigger. It'll be double the size of what it is now. And this amount of date caramel covers that whole thing. And so if I really want a lot of date caramel on there, then I can, which I have done that before with this size. But I'm also thinking about saving some, so I have some for this week. All right. That's it.
I think the creepiest man. Just explain what you're doing.
So we're just gonna sprinkle the crushed pecans. And here we got a delicious, whole food, plant-based, no added sugar, no added oils, banana bread. All right, let's try it out. So moist, gooey, yet holding firm its texture. Absolutely delicious. And the date caramel. The date caramel's got to be my favorite. I love this recipe. This has got to be my favorite plant-based recipe that I make. And you can have it for breakfast, dessert, whatever you want to have it for. Absolutely delicious. What's going on, guys? Well, it's Sunday afternoon. We just got a little bit of cooking done and everything else, so I've had some free time, and one of the things I really like to do out here on the farm, just for fun and everything else, is just to set up some targets and, you know, do some target practice with my pistol or my shotgun, this, that, or the other. I never really grew up around these different types of things, but being out here on the farm more, as I walk kaya and do everything else, it's just been kind of something that I've always been interested in over the last couple of years. Anytime I was ever able to go to the shooting range and things like that, I enjoyed it, but it's just a fun thing that I like to do out here. So today we'll just get a little bit of target practice in. Every couple of weeks I try to come out here and get a good amount of time in and just kind of get more comfortable. And like I said, for me, it's just something that I enjoy doing. So.